Okay guys, made some more progress on the truck. I got my trim back on. Let you guys see that. I'm missing the two corner pieces, the top and the bottom, because this truck wasn't originally with that trim. The doors and the fenders were off of a, I guess it would be XLT or something that would have had the nice trim. So I got those coming, but I kind of like it. The gray was a little bit, it was good, but it's kind of almost murdered out looking, so it kind of brightens up a bit. I might do a white insert in there eventually. We'll see. Maybe a white top. We'll see. But I'm liking it. That brightened it up a bit. And then a buddy of mine who pinstripes, he's questioned me. He's asked me if he could pinstripe it for me. So that would be pretty sweet. Anyways, I was going to talk to you guys about motivation. Everybody who does any kind of project, especially car projects, you know, we run out of motivation sometimes. Perfect example is my Pontiac there. I've kind of stalled out on it right now. Everybody's always asking me, you know, when are you gonna paint it? When are you gonna paint it? Well, I had an old restoration done on a long time ago. It was single stage. It was this bright green, lime green color. And it was starting to look kind of, you know, it was starting to show its age. It was starting to chip in the door edges and stuff like that. And it looked good from a distance. But when you got up close, it was not great. And then when I chopped it, the chop ended up coming down into the, I was going to try and keep it on the roof section above the belt line. And eventually where I moved the back window and everything and the package tray, ended up getting into the paint. And then where I'm dragging my, you know, I was welding and tacking I was dragging my, the line from my welder up and down that trunk lid 1,000 times. So the paint was pretty much shot by the time I was done that. And I kind of was over the green and wanted to do something else and kind of want to see everything all one color. So I just stripped it down to bare metal just to see, you know, what was underneath. And not really, there was some surprises, but nothing, there wasn't any crazy rot or anything like that, just old repairs. The car's a 52, so I'm not good at math, but it's whatever, 70 something years old, I think. And so, but I haven't picked a color. I keep looking on the internet and seeing cars, getting ideas, and I'm all over the place. I'm looking at, you know, turquoises, I'm looking at, you know, dark cherry reds, I'm looking at emerald greens. Until I have a vision in my head what that car is going to look like color wise, I'm kind of stalled out on the whole bodywork thing. And it, you know, I've got Gibbs on it and I've been cruising it like that around town. You get tons of attention and just like that, right? It looks cool. Everybody's like, oh, just leave it, which no, I want it nice, but it's a lot of work. And if I don't have a vision of what it's going to look like when I'm done, I kind of stall out. So until something happens there, it was supposed to be this winter's project and it didn't end up happening. What ended up happening is this Ramptruck, all of a sudden, you know how Facebook is and the algorithms, and you type anything in and it'll, even if it's not there, a couple weeks later or months later, it pops up. So I must have typed in Ramptruck at some point, and if you guys know, I'm in Canada. In Canada, these are extremely hard to find. One, because we have rust, and two, they weren't as required here in Canada because we didn't have 55 mile per hour rules or limits on, you know, lengths of trailers and all kinds of stuff that you guys had down the States. So they weren't really necessary, hence why this truck's from Oregon. But I'm on the Ramptruck pages, and you know, I'm seeing on, you know, Finnegan, and there's a whole bunch of them on YouTube and stuff. Guys have them, building them and stuff, and I like them, so I'd always look once in a while. And then I found there was Facebook pages for Ramptrucks and stuff, but they're, you know, Ramptruck for sale page, stuff like that. Well, they're all in the States almost always. So anyways, I checked in the Facebook marketplace and never was anything. And then of course I'm marketplace scrolling, and all of a sudden this thing pops up, and it was more like a flat deck style, but it had a beaver tail and it had the ramps in the back. So I click on it, and it's got the cool push bumper on the front, and it was mix match body panels. And anyways, and all of a sudden I look, and it's in, you know, it's in BC, Canada. I'm like, well, that's where I'm at, cool. And I click, it's in Prince George, that's where I'm at, that's my town. So I messaged the guy, and it was a good deal. So I think it's probably rusted out. Like, you can tell the weeds are kind of growing up around it, or up to the bottoms of the doors and everything like that. So I messaged the guy, and he says, yeah, here's my address. And I punched the address in on my phone. I recognized the street name, and no joke, it's 2-3 minutes down my road. The guy's practically in my backyard. So that's how that happened. So I didn't even have the money at the time, really, to start another project. So I anyways drove over there real quick, went in his backyard and looked at it as the sun was kind of going down. And I just kind of had in my vision, I've got die casts and the small die casts and Hot Wheels and everything of the ramp trucks, and for whatever reason I think they're cool. What's cooler than having an old truck with a hot rod on the back, right? So anyways, I kind of hummed and hawed, and it really wasn't, I had this thing I was supposed to be working on, this Pontiac, for the winter, but still was kind of uncertain on what I was doing with that. And you know, price was right, and so I came up with the money somehow and saved up a little bit, and the guy held it for me basically till I came up with the rest of the money. So drug it home. It was way too convenient. I knew if it was, you know, in BC, somewhere lower mainland, Vancouver, I would have kicked myself that it wasn't closer. And you know, so it was just too easy, because this thing would have been hard to get home if it was any further away. I was lucky. I was able to get some, you know, buddy from work, basically hook onto it with my pickup, and we drug it down the road with the strap into my driveway. And I guess I just kind of had motivation all of a sudden, because this guy had, you know, dreams, and then, you know, had basically got to the point where he'd plopped in a 460 in there and C6 tranny and stopped. You know, like, whatever, life happened and he lost motivation. That's what happens. And yeah, basically when I popped the hood, the motor was sitting in there, motor mount bolts were in, no nuts on them, like it was just kind of sitting there. The chain was still, you know, over the carb on the mat, bolted to the manifold from him cherry picking it in. And I thought, man, he had that motivation that he put new tires on this thing. And so first things first, you know, pour some gas down the carb, hook the wiring harness back up, and thing fired up, you know. And so that was first, you know, okay. And then I kind of had like a roadkill vibe to me. Like, I've always watched roadkill and stuff, and but I've never really, everything I've bought, I like buying that, you know, it's a running project, and then that keeps me motivated. My 54 pickup was like that. This Pontiac was like that. It was a running, or supposed to be a running project. Pontiac actually wasn't running when I went to pick it up, but so yeah, once I got it running, then there was some dents in the top of the roof that really bugged me. So I, you know, stripped the paint off and fixed the dents in the top of the roof. Must have had the hay bales or something land on it. Punched those in. So fixed the roof, got the roof in primer. There was an ugly cab guard on this thing that was just too farmer for me, so I cut that off and ended up using that for the back bumper of this thing when I skirted it in. And yeah, little things, right? Like just it kind of escalated and escalated, and I just have this vision in my head what it's going to be. And buddy at work all of a sudden asked me, "Oh, what color are you going to paint it?" And I'm like, I'm looking at this, looking at that. I'm probably neutral, something neutral. I don't want it to clash with whatever car's on the back. And I said, probably a charcoal or something. And he goes, I got 3 gallons of charcoal at home. So I said, well, perfect. So he goes home and he sends me a picture with his phone, And will this work? And I was exactly what I was, I want something dark. I don't really like silver. So yeah, so that's perfect. He says, have it. Here's $1,000 worth of paint. Give me a whole gallon of it. And then, yeah, the skirting of the bed, right? That honestly, I spent probably most of the money was on those stupid work boxes, those tool boxes. But and everything else, like a little bit of sheet metal here, but mostly just sweat labor and just coming out here and trying to put in an hour or two a day on it. And we're in, what is it, January, and I got the rest of the winter to kind of keep going on this thing. I got to finish on the bed. The bed's basically skirted in and the metal's there. I got to clean it up and paint it, and then do some kind of a cab guard I want to do over top with lights and stuff. So yeah, that's where that's going. But this weekend was a bit of I was kind of stalled out because I need some more metal, so I didn't really kind of spent more time with the family and stuff. I was kind of starting to feel guilty because I kind of lost the momentum I had. So I guess what I would recommend and what I did is I've been kind of procrastinating on the trim just because it's just that fiddly stuff. And so I was like, that'll be my goal this weekend. Just, one was get the car on the back. I kind of wanted to see that. So I took some videos of that, me loading it and everything. And then the trim I was kind of procrastinating on. It was kind of kicking around. And so I thought before it gets damaged, I'll put that on, and then ordered my corner pieces that I had saved on my phone. So those are coming now. And yeah, the bed I'm not really super in a rush to paint yet because I could just paint it at home. It doesn't have to be in a booth or anything like that. So I can kind of wait till spring maybe and do that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we got a garage tour coming. Got a bunch of local guys every Saturday go from guys' shops and do a coffee and donuts kind of thing, and guys check out what everybody's working on. So I like to do that once a year. So I got that, I think end of February or beginning of March. I got a garage tour coming up, so it'll be cool. I got a new project in the garage, kind of show off. But yeah, if you're losing motivation and your project's kind of stalled out, move everything out of the shop, give it a good sweep, put all your tools away where they're supposed to go, kind of get reorganized, and just try and pick, just one small thing that you can do, you can accomplish that day or evening or whenever you get to it. For me, it was the trim, and now I feel a bit of, didn't take that long, probably an hour aside or something like that, and just put your tunes on, your favorite tunes on in the shop, and just try and accomplish one thing a day basically on your project. If you can, put in an hour. I'm as bad as the next guy where it's easy to get home. You kind of sit on the couch and you click on the TV, and then next thing you know, you're watching someone else working on their project, and that's fun for a while. But for myself, I start feeling a little bit guilty about wasting time. I start feeling anxious because I'm wasting time. So you only got so many days that you got free time, and just an hour a day even. And if you kind of force yourself just to get through that hour, sometimes all of a sudden you look and it's midnight and you got to get to work in the morning. So time kind of flies once you start focusing on something. But I find just starting somewhere, do something, even if you just did an hour a day, committed to an hour a day, you'd be surprised. That's 5 hours in your work week, basically. 7 hours, almost probably turn into 8 hours a week of you on your project. So yeah, that's my advice, and it's worked for me so far. And good luck on your project.